Hi everybody, thanks so much for coming by. Welcome everyone, this is the Extreme Beginner Series. We have some lovely paintings for you here. We have two, not one, but two gorgeous paintings here we're going to do in this video. And the first is going to be a watercolor painting. This is a fun beginner's watercolor. We're doing a composition with some simple rocks, some dark, beautiful dark rock shapes, gorgeous white waterfall, water flowing down with some ripples and some bubbling and splashes at the bottom of the painting. We're going to show you how to do all these details, even a couple little tree shapes and some really nice foreground bushes and plants and things like that to really spruce up the painting, make it look interesting with some foreground elements, and then as well as some more middle distance and distant type subject matter in this one. So this one is really nice. You're going to enjoy this one very much. We do this for the first video. Then the second video, we're going to do a beautiful painting here of just some simple flowers. These are really enjoyable. We can do one of three compositions. We can do one, just the flowers without any background paint. I did some blue background paint, but you can do this without any background color and just do the flowers and the stems and the leaves. That looks fine the way it is, just like that. Or you can add in some blue paint once we're done with the flower painting, which you'll see how we do this. We show you every step of the way how to add a little bit of blue color once you're done with your flowers here and your stems and your leaves and your leaf forms. And thirdly, we also discuss a little bit of how you can do a wash first before you do anything. Get that in, let it dry 100% like overnight, or blow dry it completely 100%, and then do your drawing and your painting over the top of that. And this way you have your blue background in, in first, and then you do your drawing and painting over the top of that. So we do 3 scenarios for this composition. We get a little more into detail with this one. So I hope you'll enjoy both of these paintings we're going to do, both of these compositions. They're both really fun, really enjoyable. This is really an interesting time with some landscape type paintings, waterfalls, the outdoors, and then you have your flowers, which are kind of really nice. A nice two-part composition here of some flowers, some nature flowers, and then some nature too, some waterfalls. So I hope you'll enjoy this, and we'll get started in just a second. Thanks again for coming by, and welcome everybody. Thanks again for joining along on our beginners videos, and we're doing a lot more of this. So the next weeks, months, and years, we're going to be continuing on working in the beginner style, simple brushes, simple paints, simple paper, simple compositions, so that we all can get started really well in the watercolor medium without a lot of fuss and a lot of difficulty. We'll get it done. Stick here on my channel. Everything is watercolor, and this series is everything beginners. So buckle up and get ready. We're going to start in just a second. Be right back. All right, so we just saw our finished paintings. Welcome everybody again. We're just going to get started here. We're always covering the basics here with our Extreme Beginners series. Hey, everyone, if you're an extreme beginner, don't worry about it. We all have to go through the extreme beginning stages of watercolor to just get to the next level, to become better watercolor artists, to get going and get rolling. The point is to start out the right way, get your thinking straight. In the beginning it's tough, right? You're just starting out. Hey, your paintings are going to look rough, your drawings are going to look kind of a little funny looking here and there. But you just have to go through that phase. That's the beginning phase that every single artist goes through. So don't worry about it. You're just going to go through it smoothly. This is what happens when you just start out with watercolors, drawing and painting in watercolors. You know, you're going to start out the same way every watercolor artist starts out with, including myself, and even the greatest artists of all times. Just name any of them: Winslow Homer, Andrew Wyeth, Charles Reed, Alvaro Castanet, Mel Stabin, name all the names, all the great professional artists of the day, the great old masters, whoever it is. They all started in the beginning, sketching, drawing, painting, roughing it out, just trying to get a good start at it. Keep going, get some momentum building. So that's what you want. You want to build momentum. The way to build momentum is consistency. So that's what we're going to talk about. Have you started your little bit of sketchbooks that you're going to keep with you? Remember we talked about that? The first video I made on the beginner series, extreme beginner series, was, hey, get some sketchbooks. Have them strategically placed, one in your car, one in your briefcase, one in your backpack, one at home, maybe one at your relative's house, or maybe someplace, a friend's house you visit all the time. Leave one there, leave a pencil at each location as well, a couple pencils, maybe one pencil, one pen. Sketch and draw with pencils, sketch and draw with pens, office pens, markers, magic markers, anything. Grab anything when you're drawing and sketching in the beginning. You know, later on you'll pick out your favorite types of things you like to draw and paint with, and you know, favorite sketchbooks you like to use. But for the beginning, just grab any old thing. Pens, pencils work, you know, magic markers, crayons, whatever it is. Have a fun time with it, and then we'll, you know, build on that from there. But the main thing is here, like these are, I got 3 for $1 at the dollar store. These are great to have. These are your notepad style. You can draw on these. You can get a, you know, you can get a Sharpie marker, and you can draw drawings on here. You might see like a house or something. You say, oh, that's a cool looking house. And then you draw a house. So you might have a couple of things you like to draw. Maybe this is a neighbor's house or something, and you're going to draw that. And then you have the next one. You say, oh, now I just got back home. Let me do a quick drawing of maybe an apple I have on my kitchen counter. So you make your kitchen counter, and you maybe draw an apple like that. You draw an apple. Put some shading on it like that, and there you go. So you just start out simple like this, drawing, you know, 5 minutes a day. All you have to do is 5 or 10 minutes every day. You might get one of these. These are a little more interesting. These are plain paper pads, so you can get these also at the art supplies. Here I did an ink drawing. I used an ink pen, bamboo ink pen with some ink and a small little ink. You can try some inks out. You get some black ink. You can get a whole giant bottle of black ink that'll last you like 20 years. And you just use that, and you get a little ink bamboo. These are like $2 or $3 online. A little bamboo pen. You dip it in your ink. You put a little tiny bit of ink in there, and you just do a little ink drawing like this. So you can do some ink drawings, have some fun. Everything is sketching and drawing at first. You want to really put a ton of time into sketching and drawing. Grab some rulers, have some fun, get a ruler, do some work with, you know, your ruler, practice using a ruler so you can get straighter lines if you want. You know, you can do like a nice, you could do squares, angles, you could do that. Draw like this could be a office building. Some windows. See what I'm saying? Lots of fun stuff to do. You just grab some tools, small ruler, some sketchbooks, some notepads. You can even draw, like I said, on this type of thing. And you're just trying to do 5 or 10 minutes every day, though. Once a day for 5 or 10 minutes. You start doing this. That builds the pattern, the habit. And then after a while, it'll be 20 minutes every day, and you'll just be used to it. You'll just be grabbing your sketchbooks every day like you're having breakfast or lunch or dinner, because we all have habits. Habits, you have to do it about a month. That's about the scientific proof of it. There's scientific proof that if you do something for 15 to 20 days, it becomes a habit, and you'll just automatically go and grab your art tools and start working. And that's how simple it is. So have a great time with it. You'll definitely see that once you start doing this 5 or 10 minutes every day, you'll just start doing it all the time. And that's when you'll start building all of your skills with drawing and painting. So you're going to be painting too consistently. But your drawing is most important in the beginning. So that's our tools. We try to keep those again. Here, when I first started out, I was doing my paintings too. I was sketching and painting. So I was doing my sketches every day. No matter how they looked, I didn't care. I was going in there and doing my sketches. I was doing some figures, weird stuff. I don't know, I just did any old thing I could. Some people sketched in my book too, but most of this is all mine. So I just took things, did some cars. Cars are tough to draw. They're really difficult. Sometimes they come out good. Sometimes I tried, some figures. I did some skulls. You practice skulls. That's good if you're going to paint. Portrait painting, you have to learn what the skull looks like because that's underneath. And I did all kinds of stuff here. Did a little cowboy. That's look a little newer. That might have been about 5 years ago maybe. So I do all kinds of fun stuff. And then of course, I started out too. I started out with my paintings. And there's my brother-in-law here at the beach area here where we go with our family to the beach. I tried a painting of my brother-in-law there and a beach chair and some more stuff here. So you can see very primitive looking. When I first started out, it was really rough for me. This is like 2013, so this is like 10 or more years ago. So some of my early paintings were very rough and looking and crude looking. This one came out really good. Nice darks and lights there. This is a river, and this is the beach where you go swimming. Years ago we used to go swimming. This is the little beach house where you get food, a little food stand there. And these are some more people on the beach, and you can see that's my brother-in-law there, or my nephew. He's doing the lifeguard duties there. And there's some local areas in my town where I live. This is some local stuff here, the little historic house. And then some more fun, freestyle, just having some fun with some paints. So you can see when I started out the same way, having fun. Coffee mug there. So pretty rough, But you have to start and just keep working at it and you'll get there. And there we go. We did some portrait work, my mom and my dad. I did a little portrait drawings of them. So we had a ton of fun there. That's my mom. She did a sketch of me. So that came out really good. My mom can do portraits really well. So let's keep moving on here. The main point is, please practice your sketching and drawing. You have to do it to get to to get better. You have to just keep at it. Even in the beginning, I know it. You see how my paintings looked and my drawings looked. When I first started 15, 20 years ago, they were looking rough too. So you just have to go through that phase, keep working at it, and you'll definitely get better. It's just a matter of practicing daily or every other day. And once in a while, if you have to take a month break, you can do that too. It all depends on yourself. You only know what you can handle. Some of you might be able to do a lot more than I can do. Maybe not, I don't know, but sometimes I need to take a break, and if I'm taking a break from drawing and sketching, well then I'm watching videos on YouTube. Then I just start saying, you know what, yeah, I'm too tired, and I'm tired of drawing and painting for now. For the next 2 weeks, I'm doing nothing but watching YouTube videos, and I'm watching all the watercolor artists on YouTube videos, and I pick up a DVD of one of my favorite artists, and I watch that all the time. So I'm always trying to do something. Pick up some books, look through books, just look through pictures, paintings. So if you get burned out on one thing, you just move to the next thing. So if you get burned out on drawing and painting for too long, and then take a break and just do nothing but watching DVDs or YouTube videos. So please remember, subscribe here so you can watch my videos. If you get burned out on drawing and painting and you're saying, oh, I need a break, no worries. Keep subscribing here on this channel and watching all the videos, and you'll learn a ton of stuff just by watching videos. You'll learn a lot that way. I learned a lot. I was always watching YouTube videos constantly. So that's another thing. You can do that all the time too. Get into the habit of watching all your videos all the time on YouTube. All right, so we've gone through the beginning part where I just had to talk a little bit about you gotta have those habits of getting those sketches in, that sketch time in every day. 5 minutes a day is all you need. You can be in a grocery line at the store, and if you're buying some groceries and you say, oh, there's a big line here, I got to wait 10 minutes till I get my groceries rung up, you could do a little sketch right in line. You take out your small sketchbook and say, oh, I'm going to sketch, maybe I'm going to sketch a picture. Oh, there's a box over there on the wall, like a picture. I'm going to draw a box maybe. There's a box of cereal. I'm going to draw a box of cereal, and maybe it's, you know, a box of cereal, and I'm going to do a little sketch, and there's the bowl. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later, you have a sketch of a cereal box, and you've sketched for 5 minutes. You got your 5 minutes in, and you're just waiting in line. So don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You just have to, like I said, be strategic about it. Have your little sketch pads like this on you, in your bag, in your purse, in your briefcase. Have one stashed maybe in your drawer at work too. At lunchtime, maybe you have 5 minutes of lunchtime to do a quick sketch. And then in your car, you have a couple sketchbooks in your car, and then you can park, lock the doors, do a quick sketch of a building or a park, like a park bench or a tree, something, anything. But once you get that 5 minutes in, you've got power. Then you know you're doing it. You did your 5 minutes every day. And then you do that for 30 days, it'll be like a natural reflex. You'll be doing it all the time. And then you just build up a little more. You say, all right, now I'm doing 10 minutes a day. And you just go from there. It's easy. You can do it. All right, so now, let's get started here with our first drawing. Let's do some nature. So let's do a little waterfall. Let's try a waterfall. So before we do that though, we've talked a little bit here. Let me take a quick break. So I've been working here 10 minutes for you, and I'm glad to work for you here on YouTube and to teach here. Thanks so much. And again, great comments, everyone. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I saw so many great comments coming in. Oh my God, beautiful comments. People thanking me. You were thanking me, saying all nice things about me, how, you're really happy I'm here teaching, doing these beginner series videos. And we're going to continue to do this every week. We're going to come back and do beginners videos, and then I'll do my regular normal videos like everyone that's used to my channel, that's been here for a long time, many years now. We've been on YouTube. I'll be doing my regular videos, but these beginners videos are very important to me. I want to make sure I'm also here doing a beginners type format, so that all the people that are new, that you're coming into the watercolors, you're doing drawing and painting in watercolors, you want to learn, you want to do the beginning phases of everything to learn how to start out. That's why I'm here too. I'm here for all stages of people that are, whatever stage you're in. If you're a beginner, intermediate, expert, come along here, join along. And hey, even if you're a beginner, you can watch the other videos too. And if you're an expert, or you're an intermediate painter, like a novice, you're pretty good at it, but you're not quite an expert at it, hey, watch the videos too. So subscribe here below, that button below, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. You have to do it. Thumbs up too if you like this video, and leave comments all the times too. Let me know what you think on my videos. Comments are great too. Lets me know how I'm doing, what I can do better, and so forth. So again, I'm getting a little tired right now, so let me take a break, and I'll come right back and we'll start our paintings. Okay, we're just back. We took a break. We're going to get started with our painting. Let's spritz some water on our palette. We're going to clean up this palette a little bit. We had some leftover here, some leftover paints. We want to clean that up. We also want to spritz our soft, moist paints here. These are the, I always like to say, you don't have to spend a lot of money when you're starting out as a beginner in watercolor. You really don't. This is like a $5 paint set called Prang Oval 16 semi-moist watercolor paints. You spritz them with just a touch of water, and then literally 1 or 2 minutes later, these are all soft, moist, beautiful colors you can start painting with. And they're great too. You can move them around. I adjusted mine. When they come stock, when you get your stock paints, they look something like, I have to go get a newer set. I'll do that actually. Give me just 1 minute, not even a minute, give me 20 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, I lied. It was only 10 seconds. This is what a newer paint set looks like. So what you do is it's real simple. You just take out these and you rearrange them according to how you want to have them set up. And you can see here how I have mine set up. Warm to cool. So I go warm, red, orange, cooler, cooler. Greens are cooler. So it's warm, hot colors to warm, to like starting to get cool, the greens, then cooler yet, greens, blues, really cool, purples, and that's it. And I leave it this way all the time, the same way. So when you buy a new set, you take your new set and you take all these out and you put them the same way you have here, the way you like it. Maybe you want to have your cool colors over here, or you want to start your cool colors here and go this way and work your warm colors. But your best bet is to kind of set them up in a logical way so that all your cool colors are on one side and your warm colors on the other. That's the best way to do it. This way your brain just automatically knows when you're going to get a warmer color, it's going to go right over on this side. Or if you're going to go to get a cooler blue type color, you're going over here. So your brush will automatically go to these locations after you practice a while. So after you've been using this palette a while, you'll just get so used to it, you don't even have to think about it. You won't even have to go searching for your colors. You're just going to automatically go to it. Same thing as if you're driving in a car. You don't think about it after a while. Once you've been driving a car for a long time, you just know, I got to tap the brakes, I got to hit the gas, I got to turn the wheel. Next thing you know, you don't even think about it. You're just doing it, all automatic pilot in your mind. Same thing with your palette. You want your palette on automatic pilot so you're not thinking about it all. This way you can concentrate on your painting right here. Okay, so that's just a little tidbit of information. I hope you enjoy that. It's really important. And again, this palette's great too, so I hope you'll get this palette. I'll use this a lot, and I'll change this too. We'll change palettes once in a while because some of you might have different palettes. So I don't want to use the same one constantly over and over and over. But I use this one a lot for practice and fun painting. All right, so we have that. I have paper towels to wipe down the palette, and then I use tissues to dry my brush off and dab paint off the paper when I'm painting. So basically I have two types of paper products. I have my paper towels for cleaning the palette, and then I have my tissues. Tissues are for blotting off the paper when I'm painting, and sometimes you can use a paper towel if you're picking up puddles off the painting. Okay, so we're going to get started with our drawing. We're going to do a waterfall. We're going to have a fun time of this. This is beginners, so we're not concerned about perfection. We just want to get the basic idea of things and just work on that and not stress at all. We're going to have fun. This is all about fun. Just have fun with it. It's not about how great a painting you can paint. In the beginning, you know your paintings aren't going to look the best. That's just part of the process. So here we're going to do a waterfall type scene. I hope you like outdoors. Let's have a fun time. So, waterfall scene. I'm just going to put the waterfall almost center of the paper. So let's say if this is the center mark, kind of always feel out your rectangle. So you have your rectangle. Maybe you want to draw like this. I always do this. Okay, that's a broken pencil. Here we go. We get another one. There we go. So now you're dealing with the rectangle. Always remember, you're dealing with a rectangle. Everything goes on right inside this space right here. So let's divide this space in half and say, okay, this is the halfway point across the middle. Now we're going to say, let's have our waterfall a little bit off center. We don't want it exactly center. Looks better this way. So let's do this. Now I'm going to take my waterfall, start it a little bit above halfway. Here's halfway on the painting. So our rectangle here, we have the crosshairs, let's say, like this. I'll make my waterfall a little higher and a little bit left of center, and that'll be my waterfall, and that's it. And just take it and straight down like that, straight down like this. There's our waterfall right there. Then maybe here we'll have a rock or something. Maybe another rock over here. And then up here we're going to have another rock over here and some hills. And then over here we have maybe another rocks, couple rocks up there. And then we're just going to have some trees. So let's just put some vertical lines to know that we're going to paint some trees in there. Maybe there's some shadows over here. Maybe there's another tree over here. foreground. Maybe there's a tree over here. So you can kind of see, I'm just working out the plan here, but the main focal point we can see is this waterfall. And then some trees here. And let's just work with that. Maybe there's some grass and weeds over here. Same thing over here, some grass and some weeds. So I hope you can see that. If anything, simplified. If you want to simplify this scene, I'll grab some scrap paper. I'll grab some scrap paper just so we can kind of see if we wanted to simplify this and make it real simple so you can kind of see it more clearly. We're going to make the frame, that's the rectangle. There we go, that's the rectangle. Center of page here. Center of page here. Okay, so we're going to go left of center and a little bit above the center this way. So your horizontal line here, that's your center line there. Your center line here, so you basically got crosshairs here. Or you have a you've split your picture into like 4 cubes or 4 squares. So you have 4 squares here. This is the absolute center point. Then we said we were going a little bit higher over here with the top of the waterfall, a little bit left of center, like that. And then we have some hills going up this way, hills going up this way, some rocks over here, and some weeds up here like this, some weeds over here, some weeds, and then some trees over here on both sides of this. Some trees. That's basically the simplification of this, and that might be some shadows and some rocks over here. There's some rocks over here too, so we can make some darks over here. You can use your magic marker to kind of plan out where your darker paints are going to be. So our darker darks are going to be where I'm making my darks now. Then maybe back here in the distance over here there might be some darker trees back here, some pine trees, and then it's lighter over here. Maybe there's some shadows. Maybe there's a mountain and it's making shadows here and there. But that is pretty much, and then these are the rapids, the waterfall, like that. And then maybe there's some bubbling up here, some splashes and bubbles over here, and there's maybe a rock here, like that. Okay, that's the simplification of it. And we'll keep to the same game plan too. Some darks here for shadows, and then, you know, the rest we'll just soften it out and make it more of like a, you know, kind of like a vignette. Okay, we've been working about 10 minutes. I'm just going to take a quick break. This really doesn't matter because we always start up the video in just a second or two, so you're not even going to realize I'm taking a break. But I will take a break now at this point here. And again, thanks for watching. We'll be right back. We're going to start painting in just a second. Okay, so we are back. I just want to take a quick break. I hope you don't mind. And we have our pencil drawing complete. Now we're going to get some brushes here. Let's use our, I'm going to look for my favorite brushes for beginners. My Simpson and also my Princeton. So we can either use these two, Princeton, Neptune, round number 8, or this one also works really well. I like this too. This is the Simpson, Simply Simmons, number 6. This works really well as too. These Princeton brushes, I find they really work phenomenal. I never have any problems with Princeton brushes. I think they work absolutely great, perform great, and they're incredibly affordable. So let's use that. I'm going to pour some clean, fresh water in my water bucket. It happens to be a canteen. I use an orange juice container. leftover orange juice container. I fill it with water maybe halfway up and leave it in my studio here. Whenever I need fresh, clean water, I'm ready to go. I have a bucket. I have a bucket on the floor by my studio that when I'm done with the water and it's all muddy looking, and I just do a quick stir. I stir the muddy water, empty it out in the bucket next to me. It's like a 3-4 gallon bucket. And then I pour new water in and we're fresh, ready to go. You can use, sometimes use a small, I cut this in half. This is a small sponge, like a kitchen sponge. You can cut them in half and quarters maybe. This might be a quarter or a half. You sit this next to your water bucket, and once you clean off your brush, when you're done rinsing your brush, so you're constantly rinsing your brush, when you're done rinsing your brush, you just quick touch it to the sponge next to your water bucket, and this way you take a little bit of water off the brush. You don't want to be going straight from your water bucket. I hope this makes sense. You don't want to be going straight from your water bucket with flooded brush hairs and then over into your palette, because then your palette just gets flooded with water, your paints. So you always want to make a quick stop at the sponge first and then over to your paints to get your paints. Or I like to use this too. You can use, I sometimes hold a tissue, so you can go from your water pail to your tissue and take a little water off on your tissue and then go to your paints and then go to your paper and you do your painting. So that's 2 ways you can do it. Or the third way is if you wear an apron. I wear an apron, so I usually rinse my brush, tap my apron quick on my chest or belly area quickly, just rinse the brush off, boop, quick, and then go to the here. But if you don't want to paint with an apron on, like an artist apron or artist smock, then you can just use a sponge, tap off your water a little bit on there, or a tissue. And that is really one of the keys to painting. If you want to have really good painting experiences and really do well with your painting, you have to control the water on your brush. So once you rinse your brush off, you can't bring a flooded brush of water over into your palette all the time and make this all a flooded mess of water. You have to take some of that water off your brush first, then go get your paint, and then go into your painting. So that's a crucial technique, and I'm glad I can show you this. Okay, so we're going to start out here. I'm just going to put my brush down a second. And once we do that, we're going to get started here. So we're doing our beautiful waterfall scene. You can even simplify it more. Maybe if you feel like in the beginning here you don't want to do as much details around the waterfall, maybe just keep it to the one side of the waterfall, the mountainous one side, and then the other side. Start out with that, and don't worry about your trees and things like that and your weeds down here. If you don't feel like you want to do that, that's fine. So now we're going to start out. And the fun thing about this is you're going to leave this water here, this waterfall, you're going to leave that white paper. Let's leave that white paper. We're not even going to paint in there right now. So let's get some paint, some black for some darks. We want to do that first. And some brown too. So we're gonna do some rock colors. That's going to be brown, black, some blue. So we want all kinds of darks. We don't want to just make one dark black color. Let's take our black and mix in blue and brown to make it warm and cool. Always thinking warm and cool colors everywhere. You don't want just one color. You want a warm and cool feel all the time. So brown, black, and some blue. Even some red too, even some warmer. Put in some warmer notes there. Like that. Alright, so let's do some rocks over here. So there's some rocks over here. They're dark. Like that. And I'm just going right where my pencil drawing was. I'm rinsing off my brush now. Maybe I'll make some some shadows. So I'll just use a damp brush. That's all I'm doing right now is a damp brush. And making some rock shapes. And then let's get some warmer colors here. Brown, orange, yellow, brown, orange, red. There we go. Some stone colors. And those are some warm stone colors there, like that. I might take a little bit of a splash or two. I have to add a little more water to get some splashing. You have to add some water to add splashes. There we go. And that just adds to some of the texture. Okay, now let's get some greens. Some greens here. I'm just going to try to get some green out on the palette. Some there too, maybe a little bit of brown mixed in there. A nice warm green. There's some green grasses and things up here. Let's just do that. There we go. Then some oranges and some maybe it's fall, maybe it's autumn time. Beautiful time of the year. So we mix in some orange. Like that. And then maybe we're going to do some tree shapes. We'll go over this later with some darker darks. Okay, now some green with some of these darks. Rinse off the brush, dry off some paint with some tissue. We don't want too much some blue. Okay. Some trees over here. Okay. And some darks over here on this side as well. Now here we can pretend we're going to see some weeds over here. So let's paint the weeds in with negative shade painting. You'll hear me talk about negative shade painting a lot. That's where you paint around something and it appears. So now I'm painting in some grass, weeds. And now these are all the weeds where the light color is. But we painted the dark to make it look as if we're painting the weeds with the darks. That always helps to learn the negative shade painting technique where you paint around something. So we're painting around. We're taking this dark color here. We're taking these dark colors and we're painting around the weeds here in the foreground. with dark colors, and then look, then their weeds appear. So now we've created some weeds by painting around them with our dark colors. Just like that. And then we'll take some of those warmer colors over here that we mixed up, and we'll try to get some of those over here. Maybe some of the greens too. Let's put some of that green over here. Some of that grass and moss and interesting, and I splash a little too. We'll do some yellow, orange. We can do some of that over here. Have fun with this. This is watercolor. Get some washes on your paper. Don't stress. Splash a little. Have fun. Okay, that's our waterfall. Now we're going to do some dark rocks down here. There may be some warmer rocks here, so there's some dark shadow and black rocks, and then there's some more rocks over here. And I think we're pretty much getting there. Look at that, how wonderful that looks. And we can kind of soften it out over here. Kind of make it abstract a little bit, like so. Some green, really light color green, some grayish green. Soften this out over here. Then we can do some orange, like this. Again, have fun with this. Keep it even more simple than I'm doing it. You might watch me doing this here and think, oh, this is too difficult. It's not. If you follow my steps here, step by step, this is all just two colors, light green, that grayish green mix here, up here, and then some of this warmer color over here. You get this on over here, and then once this dries, we'll add some darker darks over this and make a couple tree limbs and whatever, and then you're all set. Here too. This is still a little bit wet, so I'm going to let that dry. Now's the perfect time to let this dry. You don't want to keep working. Let stuff dry. Big part of watercolor. You have to let things dry. You can't keep working while things are too wet, because then it all starts to flood. And the only thing I will do is put in some sky color here. Right? Up here, some sky wash, some blue. Just like that. And that's going to be good. We'll come back in after this all dries and finish up with some finishing touches, but this is almost complete. And we're going to add a little more detail to this waterfall here, and you'll see how we'll do that next. But let's let this dry 100%, so we have to take a break. At this point, you can use a blow dryer to blow dry this off to get it 100% dry, and then you can go in and do your last few touch-ups with some. We're going to do some tree branches over here, a couple splashes. We're going to do a little bit of details to the water, the flowing water coming over the waterfall. But other than that, we're really pretty much in good shape here. So let's take a break though and let this dry. And again, if you want to let it dry naturally, let it dry naturally, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. I might take a blow dryer and blow dry this quick, and then we'll start again and we'll just keep working. But it's up to you how you want to do it. It does look better if you let it dry naturally, but if it works better for your schedule, So if your schedule is better, that you blow dry it so you can keep working quick and then you can get it done, and then you're done and you got your practice in and had your fun and we're having our joy here of painting, well then that's fine. If you want to extend that joy and have lots more fun, let it dry for an hour and come back and work on it some more, or the next day. You can let watercolor dry overnight or even for a week. That's the fun of watercolor too. Always remember, you can let stuff dry and walk away from it, come back a week or two later and finish it up. Or start another painting, leave this one to the side, and then come back a week later and touch it up and do something different. It's up to you. You're the artist. You're just starting out, but you're having fun. And that's why we're doing this here, so you can kind of see the different techniques and options you have when you're doing your paintings. Let's take a quick break. And again, I'm going to do a blow dry quick of this here and come back and we'll finish up. It's almost done. Almost, about 90% complete now. And we'll just finish up with a few more things. All right, hey, we're back again. I just had to take a quick break. I forgot to blow dry this, but I think that'll be okay. I'm going to work just the way it is now. It does look pretty dry at this point. Okay, let's get started with the final touches here. So we have our green mixture, which was some green and brown. And this is really a fun part of the painting. You're going to take just a little bit of paint. So the best way to do this is to get some paint on the brush, and then dry it on a paper towel or a tissue so that you've only got a little bit of paint on there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to take your brush and hold it right over where the waterfall is, and then you're going to gently sweep down like this. Just very, very lightly like that. A couple spots, not everywhere. Just like that. Good. That's all you need is a couple spots, just like that. Then you go in and you maybe add a little bit of more, maybe some green, some very, very light, some viridian green types look, and you splash at the bottom like this. Then, to even make it more exciting, you take a little bit of white paint. We have white paint right in here, actually. Let's use this. We'll take that and go right in there, white, with a little bit of water. White and a little bit of water, and that green mixture is fine. And you splash on like that. Just like that. Is that cool or what? A little bit of that opaque white. That's like an opaque looking white, mixed with a little bit of water and the green. This way you're keeping that white mixed with that little bit of green, and you splash it around the bottom of the waterfall, and that gives you that feeling of splashing and bubbling of water in just a couple taps of your brush. It's very easy to do your splashes. Essentially, when you make your splashes, you just get some water and some paint on your brush, and then basically all you have to do is just tap on your brush and kind of go with a downward motion and tap at the same time. We could use a little bit of a different color here. Let's mix up let's do a blue-green, so you can kind of see it a little better. So you just go down like this and 1, 2, 3. So you're tapping your brush as you're going downward. 1, tap, tap. At the same time, you're going downwards. Tap, tap, tap with your finger. If that gives you a problem and it's hard to do that, the next best thing that really works is you take your pencil, hold your pencil over this, right? Get your paint on the brush with some white and a little bit of that green, and you hold the pencil there and you just tap on your pencil. There you go. And you get your splashes that way. Two methods, they both work equally well. Or you can use your finger too. I see artists do this too. They just use their finger and tap like this. Works the same. Okay, so now we got our splashes for our bubbling water at the bottom of our waterfall. We're going to do some trees, black, brown. Mix up a little bit of orange, black, brown, red. And We could just do a few kind of indications of some tree limbs, like so. Like that. One there, maybe one over here. Tree limbs, the best way to remember doing trunks of trees and tree limbs, upside down arrows. Everyone knows the arrows, right? You know, when you do an arrow, that's basically your trees. Your trees are upside down arrows. And then you do little branches from that. And you can do a couple down off those arrows, but it's basically your arrow shape. And then a couple down here and there. Once in a while, you just do a quick little down stroke with the brush for a couple of those little unruly branches that go downward. But that's it. That's really the essentials of it. You can't go wrong with that. Maybe if you're doing, maybe if you're doing like a pine tree. Pine trees are more, they're more like this, right? So the branches go like so. So pine trees can be a little more, the branches are more straight. But your normal, everyday trees, maples, birches, whatever, they're going to have this kind of a look with the upside down arrows. So here we have it, just a couple little bits of trees here just to make things interesting. So we have a couple little, maybe some, little bit of foliage on those. There's one over here, we said, and that one looks okay like that. Then maybe there's a couple up here. Maybe we make these a little bit, let's make these a little more green. I'm going to stay away from that. I don't want to do that white wash, that white color we mix. We want to keep that just for the waterfall splashes. And we'll do some brown and some red. More red over here, some blue. And then maybe we have a couple up here. And you don't have to do these up here if you don't want. So if you want to kind of keep it more simple, you don't have to do these up here. I'll just do a couple up here. But that's all you have to do. And then maybe a couple more down here. Maybe there's some bushes here. You can do a couple bushes over here that are closer, so they're larger. Like that, maybe just a few. Like that. So some bushes. Just have fun with this, right? And there you have it. So let's take a quick break and we'll start our second painting. So we're doing two paintings here, back to back. This one's finished now. We have our beautiful waterfall scene. I think it really looks good. It has a good feel to it. We have rocks, we have splashing, we have trees, we have some nice colors flowing. And there we go. Have fun with this one, and we're going to take a quick break and we're going to start our second painting. Just a second. Okay, we just got back from a break, and hey everyone, thanks so much again for sticking in here, doing the work, doing the practice, doing the video watching. Video watching is critical. If you can watch these videos, sometimes if you're too tired to paint or draw, no big deal. If you're watching the videos, you're picking up a lot. You pick up a lot when you watch videos. So always, I say, please, if you can, subscribe down here on the bottom right-hand side, the subscribe button. Subscribe to my videos, please. This way you have them, you can watch them, you can learn from them, and then when you're ready, you start painting again or you start drawing again, because sometimes we all need breaks. I need breaks too, and sometimes I take breaks and I don't paint and draw for, weeks sometimes. But I always get back into it because it's just a natural pattern, and that's what I want everyone to understand is once you get into this and you start drawing and painting as an artist, you'll just always do it as it's natural. It's a reflex for you. It's a habit. You just always do it. But sometimes you need to take a little break once in a while. You need to take a couple weeks off and relax. That's fine. But if you keep watching the videos all the time, it's going to be to your benefit. You're going to benefit from it. You're going to feel better. You're going to say to yourself, oh, at least I'm watching videos. I'm doing something for the positive. It's a positive step in the right direction, watching the videos, learning the terms we use, learning the techniques we use, the methods. So let that be an encouragement to you always. If you get a little tired and you can't always paint and draw, that's all right too. You can still be watching videos and learning all the different things you do pick up from our videos. But that's why I always say if you subscribe, it'll be much easier for you to keep going forward as an artist and succeeding as a watercolor artist. So let's continue on here. We're going to do our second painting, and the thing we're going to do is we're going to do a flowers. Hey, why not? We all love flowers, don't we? They're fun, they're enjoyable to paint, they're free, they're easy. Let's try this. We're going to do just a real simple type of flower painting here. We're going to do some flowers on some stems. They're coming up from the center of our painting here. Doesn't have to be exact center. You can do a little bit different. And we'll do one this way here. We'll do one that way there. We'll have another stem this way, like that. Maybe another one over here, like that. Okay, so we're doing some stems. I'm going to see if I can try to move my paper up just a little bit, because I think I'm off camera just a touch. Let's see if I can do this without making it too much of a problem. There we go. Much better, much better. Okay, I just wanted to move my paper up a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. Okay, back in business here. Now, I'm going to get my other pencil here. So now we have some stems coming up. They're flowing this way, flowing out this way. And again, if you're having sometimes there's challenges looking at the video with pencils. I'm just going to do a quick, this is our rectangle, like so. And what I have is a series of stems coming up like this, like that, like that. And then next, what we're going to do is we're going to just do our flowers on the ends of these stems, like so, like that, with some green leaves and things here and there. There's a couple green leaves around the flowers. There's some more green leaves over here, and that's going to be our painting and our drawing. Okay, we're going to continue here. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to do the flowers like that, and there's some green leaves. Like that. And then here we have some more flowers here. And then if one of your flowers goes off in a wrong direction, no big deal. Just do that. Just spin it around. And then we have some more leaves and the flowers. And this one here is same thing here. And there's a few more there. Like that. Okay, there we have it. Look at that. How beautiful is that? Okay, now I'm going to change out my water. So I just changed out the water in my water bucket, put in some fresh, clean water. We're starting a new painting. We want to have fresh, clean water. And let's just do the same with our palette. I take some paper towel, spritzer bottle. We'll spritz our bottle here, just get our palette looking better. It's always good once you start a new painting, or if your palette gets too cluttered with too much paint, just do some quick cleanup here with some paper towel, spritz on some water, and look at that, 1, 2, 3, we have a clean palette again, and that's fine. Okay, so now I take my brush, rinse it off with clean water, touch a little bit on the tissue, take off some of that water, and then we're going to get some orange. Sometimes on these gel paints you just have to work in a little bit there. I already spritzed them with water, so they're pretty good. Then maybe we're going to add a little bit of this over here, some darker orangey red. And then over here, maybe even two. Let's add some red over here. We'll mix it up. Red, orangey red, orange. Maybe even some yellow over here. We can add some yellow up there like that. So now we have a mixture of our flower color. And then we rinse our brush off, dry it off. Let's start getting some color on here and see how that looks. Wow, look at how beautiful that looks, right? Mix in a little bit of red there. Beautiful, perfect. And then we can go right up here. And you can kind of see how I'm just taking my brush. I rest my hand on the paper. So that's how you get your stability. This is a great technique. You want to really remember this. This is really important. When you're doing your watercolor paintings, you want to rest your hand on the paper itself, and that gives you your stability. And then you just take your brush when your hand is resting on the paper, and you just touch it down to the paper, and you just gently put the paint on. So you apply the paint gently on the paper with your hand resting on the paper itself, like that. And you're going to work left to right if you're a right-handed person. If you're a left-handed person, you're going to be starting your painting on the right-hand side as a left-handed person and working to the left like this. This way you're not leaning your hand into the wet paint. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. That's really important. That's another really huge technique, is knowing how to work around the painting so that you're not leaning into your painting. And then if you have a tough spot where you can't find a place to rest your hand on, then you can take your pinky and then rest your pinky on the paper. This is a little more advanced techniques here, but you still, as a beginner, you should start practicing this. Take your pinky and you put it on the paper. You rest your pinky on the paper, because that's less area you're resting down your hand. So when you rest down your whole hand on the page, that's a lot of area. Your whole hand is resting on that paper. But if you lift up and then just use your pinky, your knuckles of your pinky, or even if you can lower your brush down and just kind of keep your pinky straight like this, straight up top. Then you're only touching down with your pinky. And if you have nails on your pinky, then you're even doing better because you have a nail on your pinky, and then you're just touching down with that small bit of nail on the paper. But the thing is, it's more difficult to paint with your pinky straight up like this. So it's harder to paint like this when you have your pinky straight up like this, because then you have less control of your brush. It's harder to paint like that. So if your hand is on the paper, it's much easier to get a stable brush stroke here and there. If you use just your pinky with your knuckles, you're going to get a pretty good stable way to paint that way. But if you really have to, and you're working with paper and you get a little bit impatient and you want to keep painting and you don't want to bother, you can use just your pinky nail or your tip of your pinky finger and do it that way. That's fine too. You have to try out your techniques, see how they work. I'm trying here just to mention what I do. I tend to just try to carefully rest my hand on the paper, my whole palm of my hand here on the side of my hand on the paper, away from wherever I'm painting. So I'm always working away so that I can, away from the area with my hand, so I can always have my hand resting on the paper. But sometimes you have to try to do it a different way. And again, you figure out your own techniques, how you want to do it. Some people will just paint without touching at all. They'll just do this. So this way you hold the brush up high, like this, and then you're not even resting on the paper at all. But this is more difficult to paint like this, to get accurate brush strokes. But there are painters that can do that. And that's good. A couple splashes. Rinse off the brush. Now let's mix up some greens for our cool green. This is a green with a little more blue. This green is a green with less blue, more yellow. That's a warmer green right here. And then here we have a lemon yellow. So you can get your different mixes of yellows and greens. And then we can just do this. So you can try painting both ways, resting your hand on the paper, and then as well trying to paint holding the brush up high on the handle like this up here, and just trying to see if you can get some for something like this, like flowers, you can get them pretty accurate with holding up high on the brush like this. But if you're trying to do like a really technical painting with like maybe buildings or figures and things like that, it might be a little more difficult. All right, there we go. We've got it. A couple more splashes, or you can do it this way, or you can do it this way too. Take a pencil, a couple splashes here and there. And let's keep working on this a little bit. We need to add some more detail to this, maybe some brown and blue, brown and blue. And then we can add a little more interesting highlights and different tonal values. Tonal values are darks and lights. So here we're adding some darks and lights to our painting now to make it more interesting. Look at that, how wonderful that looks, right? We could add a little yellow and brown here. Orange. Yellow, brown, and orange. And we can just add a little bit of yellow, brown, and orange to the stems if you want, just to give the stems a little bit of a warmer look to them, too. Like add some browns and yellows to the stems, but just not too much. Leave them green as well. Some areas of greens. Just mix it up a little. There we go. And now the fun part. Well, before we do the fun part, I always mention, let us take a break and let this dry. You can use a blow dryer, or you can let this naturally dry for like an hour. And once we do that, we'll put a little bit of a wash, maybe like a nice blue wash around the flowers, just to give it a little more interesting look to the painting. But I think this is looking very good the way it is now. You can leave it just like this now, and you don't have to add any wash to the paper beyond what's here right now. So right now we have the flowers, the stems, the leaves. You can leave it just like this and call it a day. It looks good that way too. You put a mat and a frame around this. It looks fantastic just the way it is. But I am going to try to wash in a little bit of a blue around the back of these flowers, just to give it a little bit of a color, like a backdrop of color. I hope you'll enjoy that. So I hope you'll stick with us here just for the last few minutes. We're going to add in some blue to this background, but we must let this dry first because we don't want too much water flowing onto our stems and our flowers, which will make a disaster of a problem with all the water and everything, making everything cauliflower, they call it, or blossoming or blooming. We don't want that to happen where this paint gets disturbed by the new washes we're putting on. We need to let this dry 100%. So I hope you always remember that. Drying is a key to watercolor. You have to let washes dry or let sections dry as you go. Otherwise, you add other washes to it and too early or too quick, and it's going to ruin what you just painted. So let's let this, what we just painted here, dry 100% of the way. Then we can go back in and do a little bit of washes if we want. It's up to you. You'll see how you like it. Look at it now. What do you think? How does that look? How does that look to you? Just the orange flowers, the orangey red flowers with the green and brown goldish stems. How does that look? Well, I hope you like it. I like it that way, actually. This looks good. But let's try it out. Let's let this dry 100%. We'll come back, add a little bit of blue wash, and we'll see what happens, how it looks. Wow, all right, we're at the last stages of our painting right now. We just talked about how do we want to add some blue wash to this, or do we want to leave it just the way it is now? That's up to you. I think both looks really good. Let's try a little blue wash and see how it works out. But I think this does look really nice. You could put a white mat around this and a white frame, or then maybe a black frame or a silver or a metal frame. This would look really nice, just very simple like this with no wash behind it. I'm going to try to go with a little wash behind it and see what happens. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this blue. And I'm going to add this blue, just a little bit of blue, and see how that looks. And you're going to see how I'm just washing this around, this blue, just to give it a little bit of that backdrop color. And you can see a little bit there, starts to reactivate. If that happens, if your paints start to reactivate when you're going to do a wash, you can always lift up with a little bit of tissue. That's all. And a good thing to remember, if you do a backwash behind here, a fun thing to remember is just kind of vary your brush strokes, which way you go. Maybe one down, one across, one on an angle. If you do that, it looks a little better than just doing all like straight. So I'm going to do one this way, one this way, one that way, one this way. Blot up as you go a little bit if you need to blot up some paint. You can blot up some paint as you go, quickly. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can do a little splashing. And then you make the decision. You're the artist. You make the decision. Does this look good? Does this look good with a blue wash? It's a little bit awkward to paint around something once you've painted it like this. This might be something where you might want to do this light wash first, a very, very light blue wash over the whole painting or the whole paper first. Let that dry 100% like overnight. Then come back and do this painting on top of it. Then you'll have that whole blue wash behind it, and you won't have a little bit of these white spots that you see. You probably see these white spots here and there. I happen to like those white spots that are around, sporadically around the painting. And again, some more splashing. I like a little bit of that. And you can lift up a little bit of the splashes too as you go, so that they look, some of them look more dramatic, some of them look kind of subdued, like that. But it's up to you. You can experiment doing a light blue wash first over the whole painting and then letting that dry 100% and then going over the top with your flowers and your stems and your leaves. You can do that too. Or you can do like we just did it, or you can leave out the blue background altogether and just paint it with white paper and then your green and your orange and red flowers. That works too. So that's all a matter of trying it out different ways to see what way you like to do it. But I think any three of those ways look really good. Doing it like this, doing it with the blue wash first, letting it dry, the paper 100%, and then painting drawing and painting over the top of that. That's fine. Or just leaving it white paper and not using any blue, and just leaving it the green and the orange. So I hope you enjoyed this series. This is, again, the beginner series where we're doing everything to try to build up our skills as watercolor artists as a beginner. So if we're beginning out in watercolor, drawing and painting, we're not going to try to draw huge elaborate paintings, large paintings. We're going to kind of stick with smaller paintings. We can kind of focus in on these smaller compositions and try out different techniques, see what works, what we like to do. And as you do these smaller techniques, these smaller paintings, you're going to get the feel for the drawing and the painting aspects of watercolor. And you'll be able to eventually move on to larger paintings and more complex paintings. But at first you're working in smaller compositions like this. So I'm glad to be here teaching for you and working along with you as we go. And we'll see you on the next video. And thanks again so much for coming by, for watching my videos. I hope you'll leave comments if you need some answers to some questions you have. I'll always be willing to answer questions if you need any help with anything. And of course, too, I just thank everybody for all the compliments that everyone gives me every week with all of your compliments in the comment section, which I greatly appreciate and thank you for. And again, I'm thankful for every one of you that come by and are starting out in watercolor, drawing and painting in watercolor. And again, one of the key things is we talk about in the beginning of the video, just start out with little bits of drawing to build up your drawing skills, because it's a lot easier to do drawings if you've been practicing maybe 5 minutes a day with a little sketch pad like this. That's all. If you're just practicing a little bit of sketching every day, your life as an artist will be so much better and so much easier. So if you do that, trust me, you're going to be much happier. And we'll see you on the next video, okay? Bye-bye for now.